It is day 3 and stage 2 in Switzerland. Hello and welcome to BN Sports coverage of the Tour de Romandie, the 67th edition of this race and the 14th race of the 2013 UCI World Tour season. I'm Andres Cordero, so glad you could join us for cycling on BN Sport. Team Sky rider Chris Froome retained the yellow jersey after Wednesday's stage 1 from Les Chablais to Bruzon, but it was Omega Pharma Quick-Step rider Gianni Meersman who was the stage 2 winner, with a time of 4 hours, 29 minutes, and 9 seconds, edging out Radio Shack Leopard's Giacomo Nizzolo. However, there was no change atop the general classification. Froome remains in first place, American Andrew Talansky in second, 6 seconds back, and Robert Kaiserlowski in third, 13 seconds off the pace in beautiful Switzerland, the French-speaking region of Switzerland. Today, the race continued northeast from Prilly to Grange, a distance of 19 kilometers, 118 miles. Here now is a quick overview of this stage before joining the race in progress.
Yet another beautiful day in Switzerland as the sun shines down over the 67th Tour de Romandie. Stage 2 on the road takes place on what is the hottest day of the year so far in Central Europe, and with a route that throws a few obstacles in the way of the 165 riders left in the race. Those who are left are looking to fly high and give us exciting times as we go towards the town of Grenchen. So the riders left this morning from Prilly on the west side of Lausanne, not too far away from yesterday's stage finish where Gianni Meersman picked up the first proper road stage. They then headed over fairly flat terrain, certainly flat enough for Switzerland, towards the Lac du Neuchâtel, the second biggest lake in the region after Lac Le Mans, towards Colombier, before the first climb of the day, first categorised climb that is, would take place. First of two, second category at Chaumont, 1,133 metres above sea level. It was then a gradual descent before they headed towards the first intermediate sprint of the day, that taking place at Pietelen, in towards the finish line for the first of 3 passages today. A loop around another second category climb, and one that could well be decisive. Into Plagne, and then the descent that's going to be equally as tricky than after a couple of ramps up at 8% on the way up. One more intermediate sprint again at Pietelen on the way in, and Grange or Grenchen would receive us right outside the brand new Swiss velodrome and the headquarters of the BMC team. 190.3 kilometers on the second stage. So as I mentioned, wonderful, beautiful weather. It is a lot warmer than 19 to 21 degrees, I can tell you. Completely sunny, hardly a cloud in the sky. Just a couple, as you can see, in the distance. This is how it looks on the general classification so far after the first uphill prologue, then the first road stage. Chris Froome of Team Sky in control, 6 seconds ahead of the United States' young promising talent Andrew Talansky, who was third in this race last year. Robert Kieselowski of Croatia and Radio Shack is in third place. All that would mean that on this second road stage, the following jerseys would be worn by the following people. Froome in yellow, Berard in green, Bravo for the mountains in pink, Thibaut Pinot, the best young rider with Sky Pro Cycling, the best team so far in the race overall. So good afternoon and a very warm welcome. Stage 2 of the Tour de Romandie, and we have a 3-man breakaway. I can tell you that Marcus Burkhardt, Johnny Hogeland, who's back on the bike and up to his old tricks, away along with Matti Brendel, who we saw put in a brief attack yesterday. It's a quality group. They had a maximum of 4 minutes and 3 seconds, but with 50.6 kilometers remaining, already one passage of the finish line done. One to go before a final loop. The gap is 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So Brendel at the front on the left-hand side in his I Am Cycling jersey. BMC, it's a very special day for them today. We'll talk a little bit about that as the day goes on. That's Marcus Burkhardt, and at the back, wearing Vacances Soleil colours, Johnny Hogeland. Quality in the group, quality next to me in the commentary box. Good afternoon, Brian Smith.
Hi Rob, yeah, another hot day here in Romandie. It was hot, even the speed right from the start of today's stage. The average speed in the first hour was 46.3 kilometres an hour. So Team Sky trying to keep it together as much as possible, but it was Marcus Burkhardt from BMC, a big day for them, finishing just outside their headquarters here at the finishing line, and Burkhardt was on the attack at 27 kilometres, and it was at 35 kilometres that Brando and Hogeland came together. So three-man breakaway, hard start, very hot day today.
Very warm day indeed as we're inside the last 50 kilometres. Team Sky, as you'd expect, doing most of the work on the front of the peloton. They have the race leader, Chris Froome, wearing yellow. There's Peter Koenig at the front, so just in front of Gabriel Rasch, the former Norwegian national champion. On the right-hand side of the picture, Cannondale Pro Team, looking after Ivan Basso, and BMC having a very, very good day. There's the first sighting of Mark Cavendish. Yesterday missing out on the sprint. We looked at the profile today, we thought it might be a little bit too difficult for him, again given the fact that the last clamp is going to ramp up to around 8% for the final couple of kilometres. He's in the group, despite we heard reports earlier on that he'd just left off and come off at the end of it. Looks as though he's back. Roberto Ferrari not too far away, a collection of sprinters here at the back, and Mark Cavendish is still going to have his work cut out to try and get to the final today.
This definitely is a hard final. This final climb in the third category climb is for me harder than yesterday's stage. Unfortunately for Mark, he had a puncture in the final of yesterday's stage and was unable to contest the sprint. But today is another day, but for me I think it suits Meersman a bit better than Cav, but you never know. Cav, maybe with a bit between his teeth, can maybe struggle back in the 15 kilometres towards the line.
Well, there's the Australian Luke Durbridge, the Australian national champion. All of Orica Green Edge efforts will be going towards the number 133, Matt Harley-Goss today. Remember, it's Anzac Day as well, so a special day for the Australians and New Zealanders in the peloton. And their best chance of a win today would surely come from Matt Goss. However, if it's hard for Mark Cavendish, it's certainly going to be hard as well for Matt Harley-Goss. Wearing the pink jersey today, Kite's Bravo. We've already had some news from a little earlier on today. He will still be in pink tomorrow as we see him next to the other jersey wearer, the points jersey wearer, Julien Berard of AG Dozère, the French team. We've already had one King of the Mountains classification. That came a little earlier on at Chaumont. Points are handed out. Top points to Johnny Hogeland, who took 8 points for the second category climb. Brendel in second, with Marcus Burkhardt in third place. Bravo then came in at the head of the peloton to mop up a couple of points. That means that he is guaranteed to still be in the pink jersey tomorrow. Gap's coming down to 2 minutes and 1 second. There's Chris Froome. Yellow jersey, picked up yet another win. Fifth of the season for him the other day. In the prologue uphill time trial. Sky have been in control of the jersey for the first couple of days and will be expected to do most of the riding throughout the stages again to control it. They never let the advantage get above too much for about 4 minutes today. But expect them to perhaps again take a back seat towards the end. At the moment the pace being taken off, Sky happy to control things. But with 47.5 kilometres to go, there will be attacks. It's a good opportunity for a stage hunter again today.
Well, yesterday's seen Vacansoleil, the team of Hogeland, who's in the break. It was Rohano tried in the last climb yesterday. And Hogeland just back. This is his first big race, obviously off with the injury earlier on in the season, and he wants to try and do something. Big day for BMC, that's why Burkhardt was really interesting getting involved with the breakaway today, and I am the Swiss team involved with this year's Tour de Romandie also on the break. So yeah, we'll look at the stage and look at with the motivation between getting in the break. At the head of affairs, we've got Team Sky. We've seen them do this yesterday, but very noticeably at the front they're using Chris Sutton. They gave him the opportunity of going for the sprint yesterday. he didn't do so well, so he's back to the front and doing duties for the yellow jersey of Chris Froome.
A suggestion then that Sky might not be fully interested in today's stage win. Then they've perhaps realised it could be a little too hard for one of theirs. Plenty of options throughout the peloton, though. We talked about Gianni Meersman a lot yesterday. Did end up taking the win for Omega Pharma Quick-Step. There's also the likes of Moreno Moser, who's been trying and trying and trying throughout the classics. We saw Luca Mezget of Argos Shimano not far away, Van Rensburg in that team as well. And it certainly looks a day for the likes of Marcato, Gavazzi, those sorts of riders again today.
For me, this last climb, the third category climb, it's very steep towards the top. The last 2 kilometres is very difficult, and yesterday we had over 140 riders come to the finishing line, and in fact Meersman was the first Belgian to win a road stage in the Tour of Romandie for 20 years. With just the slow enough to the peloton, the concertina effect just at the back there, just causing people to lock on, and the road in this third category climb isn't that wide. So for me, I think this kind of lethargic peloton, just a bit like yesterday, are going to go on the attack in this final climb.
Well, the final climb doesn't begin for another 15 to 20 kilometres just yet. Again, that concertina effect at the back. A couple of riders affected, the man from Katusha. 2 minutes the gap, 46.1 kilometres to go. Plenty of beautiful wooded areas here. We're hoping with the good weather it's not going to interrupt our TV signal too much, but once the riders do go in there, it can be a little impossible for the motorbikes to send up the signal to the aeroplane circling ahead. That's how the pictures are transmitted to you back home. A bit more about this break then. There's Matty Brendel at the back, 23-year-old Austrian who we briefly mentioned yesterday. He's from Hoenehems in his native Austria. Actually was the points jersey winner in the Tour de Romandie a couple of years ago. That is Johnny Hogeland, just making sure that the little notes he has on his bars are the same as the ones he has in his pocket. He is such an entertaining rider. One of the heroes of the peloton, but he did, as Brian alluded to, break his ribs and damage vertebrae earlier on this year in a training cash. It was in Spain on the 3rd of February. That's his first race back, and the team are very, very happy with the way that his recovery have gone. Hasn't won since 2009 though, when he took the general classification and the first stage on the 3 days of West Flanders. As you can tell, we're into German-speaking territory now in Lutterkurven. Tour de Romandie is normally a French-speaking race inside the entire Romandie or French-speaking region of Switzerland. But the reason we're here today is because of BMC and the new velodrome that they've built. Andy Rees is the man who funds BMC, the pro team that won the Tour de France a couple of years ago with Cadel Evans. And they've built a brand new, beautiful 250 metres long track, big velodrome. It's going to hold around 2,000 or 3,000 people. It's not due to be finished and opened until the 21st of June. And we were talking a little earlier on, there's kind of hoping that Fabian Cancellara is going to come along and open it. Hasn't been confirmed yet, so if you're watching Fabian, make sure you get up, get along, because it looks like it is going to be a wonderful facility. Not too far away from the centre of Swiss tennis as well around here. Roger Federer spent a lot of his time developing just up there, right at the base of the climb. We're going to see in not too long. Whilst we're on the subject of Swiss sport and centralisation, when the velodrome's finished, it will be the National Cycling Union that will move to have its headquarters here too. Chris Froome at the front. Last big test before the end of the first part of his season. Of course, preparing for